Oh, this is Scott from Wessex Blades with my entry into Three River Blades 5,000 sub contest. Now, obviously, I'm very biased for John Kaiser because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be in the position I am now, because he sent me that Harbour Freight grinder, and I've managed to convert that twice. So without that piece of kit, I'd be even slower than what I am now for knife making. So the main point in this is an entry, but the other thing is he's trying to get to 5,000 subs, and so obviously as much promotion as possible for John. I'm up for that. You'll notice I do actually show his card or give him a shout out whenever I can, so there's another opportunity for me to give a little bit back to Big John. Now, his stipulations was to design a knife, a survival knife. Now, I'm very, very, very fortunate to actually own a Boosie, and the handle on this is very good. What I've done is I tried to get the feature of what the handle I like, and that's it starts sloping from there down. Now, where the scales drop down and the jimping begins, I haven't really incorporated that because it's just annoying when you're trying to put scales on already pre-made because of a knife maker. The through lanyard, sort of mount holes there you could put it through, I'm not really going to keep those on. I'd much rather keep a feature from my BK7, which is hex bolt machine screws, so you could actually take the scales off. If it ever got waterlogged, you can always take them off and let it dry out. So I've kept the gently sloping handle as much as possible with the feature of the Becker there. Now, my handles are very sculpted and overkill. You don't necessarily need a guard as such because the stocks are thick there. But what is similar with this blade is the length of blade with the length of handle, and the balance point, which is about there. It sits in your hand like that. So that's what I'm trying to get by having a 5-inch blade with a 5-inch handle. So that was a little plug for me, but that's why I like balanced blades. The other thing I do like, this one, although it's convex there, the edge is actually convex as well. That I prefer over this at the moment, which I think is just a flat terminal edge, but a flat grind from there down. So what I've gone for is elements of all of these, but with the quality feel of this. I'm not kidding, this is something very, very special. So that is about 10 inches, that is exactly 10 inches, and his depth was 2 inches, so from there to the bottom of that quillion section there, that's 2 inches down to there. So all of this has to be removed, but as you can see from my design, it comes across as a sort of Becker BK2 there-ish, with a sort of SE 4 or 5 there-ish, with a sort of Beckery mounted scales. This section here, the SE does have a fire drill spindle concavity there, but what I have fitted into one of my bigger ferro rod handles is a roller bearing. I can't remember if it might have been Snap-on John or someone that had a mini helicopter model rotor bearing and a really thin one, and he epoxied it in. So that meant that, yeah, my carter's hard, but eventually you got to wear that handle scale through. So to inlay a bearing in there is not that much of an engineering feat, but you do actually have a very useful, and it's got far more longevity having a bearing there than just a concavity, and then it makes the use of this so much more broad, because you can actually hold the handle and use it as a roller bearing, or you can mount something else as well, and something's going to spin in it. This back end here, I had a look at a lot of things, and what I wanted to do was improve the strength of it. So this back end is a little bit thicker than what's on like an Essie. It's got the Becker look to it, but I kept the breaker at the end. I really like the idea of it. It's a secondary weapon as well, and the one time you want to break some ice, you want to break through a car windscreen or something, you want to hit something and shatter it, having that breaker is a far better idea than having nothing on the flat edge. Obviously a lanyard hole, because it gives you the opportunity to have a fair amount of paracord in additional to what else you've got. You could have it in and out of your sheath. The scales is survival. Okay, it's not trying to be tactical. So I'm a big believer in, if you've got something out in the woods and you don't want to lose it, you make it orange. Now this is just my personal choice, I'm not saying it has to be orange, but if I was going to have the choice of a knife being made, I'd have bright orange micarta and fluorescent evil demon blood yellow liners, so if you dropped it you got a chance of finding it. The sheath I would have Kydex and orange, with a few more holes to put a bit more paracord through. And the only snag with this one, you can't wear this at the moment. I just chuck it in my pack and it's quite happy. It's not really the end of the world, but some form of belt mount would on there would be great. Steel wise, I've had experience of 440C and Bowler N690, but I don't personally know it that well, so I just stick with bum basic 1/4 inch 1095. The blade grind, what I wanted to do was make it simple to maintain, so that is a flat grind with a convex edge. Granted it's not full height convex, but it's very simple to produce it if it's a flat grind like that, and a convex terminal edge. And I wanted a drop point very similar to what knives I've got now. I get on with that edge, just dropping down like that. So big shout out to John. Get over to his channel. All those who aren't subbed to me, give him a decent view, because he comes up with some lovely stuff. This is my entry. All the best. Scott from Wessex Blades. My 3 River Blades contest entry.